Today I want to have a discussion about Outbreak, and the way I want to have this discussion is to really try to figure out if Outbreak is a proper or a good enough DLC 2 to replace a traditional DLC 2, because this is something that I've been hearing a lot of people mainly disappointed with this, and I really find myself on the defending end of this. And because of that, I thought that instead of just defending it, I just give out my entire thoughts of this Outbreak mode replacing a proper DLC 2 or a traditional DLC 2. And that's kind of what I want to do with this video. But one huge disclaimer I have to say before we go any further is that I'm actually recording this, if you're watching this at a later date, before the second main Easter egg is added to Outbreak. So I don't know how that is going to play out or anything, but I'm going to go with the assumption that it's on the same level as the first main Easter egg, which in my opinion is pretty good. So that's the assumptions I'm going with in here. Of course, if that Easter egg rather is even better than what we thought, or maybe even worse than what we think it is going to be, then maybe there's some reevaluation that has to go in here. But overall, I don't think it is, because of what you'll probably see later in the video. But with all that said, what I think is the best place to start off with this video is talking about the substance of this game mode, and then from there seeing if it is a proper DLC 2. And the first thing I think is important to mention are the maps that this game mode takes place on, because these are not traditional style zombies maps. Obviously, they are very different. They're very large, very big, and just not how you would normally play a zombies maps. But of course, that doesn't mean that these are for zombies maps, because as you guys are probably aware of, that a lot of these maps were first available in multiplayer in the Fireteam mode. But the funny thing is that not only are they a reuse for multiplayer, but in multiplayer they were already a reuse, because these maps originally were for the Blackout 2 map, but that got canned, unfortunately, for Treyarch, because it seems like they already had the map all built out, but it got canned by Activision, and because of that, Treyarch had to scramble and find a new way to reuse this content that they already made. And because of that, that's where Fireteam came from, and that's also where Outbreak came from. And because of that, we could all tell that these maps weren't originally made for zombies, so they don't feel like zombies maps, especially the atmosphere of these maps. They just don't feel like zombies. And that's kind of really annoying for anybody who has played zombies before Cold War, because you think about games like Black Ops 3 and even Black Ops 4, like you think of the settings that we had on those maps. You could think of, let's just say, Garage Krovi, you're in Stalingrad in the middle of a fight between dragons and mechs and all that crazy stuff. And then you come over here and now you're in the Ural Mountains. And I think anybody who plays these two different modes and maps could tell that there's a huge drop off in the, I guess, uniqueness, if that's a word, of the zombies maps, because all these maps feel like are, I guess, zombies on multiplayer maps, which I can imagine that's not a good thing for anybody, and that's a major problem with the mode. But I will give it to somewhat Sanatorium, because at least they did, make it nighttime. But I mean, even if you want to give them that, the rest of the 4 other maps just don't feel like proper zombies maps, which is a huge knock against it in my personal opinion, especially because of the fact they weren't even made for zombies originally. But one thing I think that everybody should give this game mode credit for is that it's the first time in the history of zombies that somebody has fundamentally changed how you played zombies and it actually be good. Because before this, everything was round based, right? They're all round based. You go through the rounds, you set up, you get your jug, you get your pack punch, and just all that. Like, everyone knows how you play zombies. This, of course, it still has your jug and pack punch, but it's kind of round based, but it's not the traditional round base. Instead, your main objective isn't just to go through rounds. Instead, you literally have objectives that you have to go do in order to proceed through the rounds. And because of that, I think that everybody should give it props for that. Even if you don't think it's good personally, you could tell that a lot of people enjoy it. And because of that, I think that's only a good thing, to have more experiences that you could experience in a zombies mode. Of course, you still have your round base, but you also have a different experience there for you. And because of that, I think this is something that should really be congratulated towards Treyarch, because it's something that personally I never thought would happen, and I think that this is only a good thing for the zombies game mode to give you, as I said, more ways to experience the game. But alongside all of that, there's some, I guess, smaller things. You have the world events, which, you know, vary from orbs that you have to punch to free perk side, I don't know, quests where you have to go kill a mini boss, and like just the gold box that you have to defend. And then more recently, there's the Orda, which is incredibly cool if you ask me. So these world events are cool. I think they're pretty unique and stuff like that. And this is something that they had to really build from the ground up to work on these maps, whereas other things were reused. So I have to give them credit for especially that Orda that just wonders the map. Super cool stuff, Treyarch. There's also storyline stuff that I could mention, but I don't really think it really fits here. But I do want to at least acknowledge the storyline because it does exist on this Outbreak map. But finally, I think the last thing that is important that we should mention is going to be the Easter eggs. And as I mentioned earlier, there currently isn't the second main Easter egg added into the game. We're a couple days off of that for me, but the first Easter egg itself is really cool. I really like it. Of course, it doesn't have, like, I think 6 steps throughout the entire Easter egg, so it's not the most amount of steps, but it's still really fun and really had a good boss fight, which is something that we haven't had in zombies, in my opinion, since probably Black Ops 3, or actually Infinite Warfare, and that's kind of been a while. I think it's really one of those better boss fights that we've ever had, and because of that, I want to give it credit for that. And if we assume that the second main Easter egg is at least going to be on that level, it's another thing that I'm going to have to give this game mode credit for, because these Easter eggs are probably going to be the best Easter egg in this game, at least at the point of their releases, because for being honest, Firebase D&D Machina's Easter egg, they ain't the hottest stuff out there. So I think those are all of the major and important features that are at least worth mentioning to get an understanding of the Outbreak game mode. And from there, I think we could come to this point where we could really look at this mode and see if it really counts as a proper DLC 2. And I'm going to be honest, I don't think it's on par as previous DLC 2s. I just think that it's not enough to replace a DLC 2, and this mainly comes down to the fact that these are not original zombies maps, and it just really kills the whole feeling of that. And this isn't to take away from the Easter eggs and how they fundamentally changed the formula of zombies through Outbreak, but at the same time, I can't ignore the maps. They're just blackout maps, and that's just something that I just can't, it just doesn't sit well with me. So to me, I really see this as not a proper DLC 2, but more of like a 3/4 of what a proper DLC 2 would really be. But there's a huge asterisk right there, because the thing is that I could be fine with this, even if I don't see it as currently a proper DLC 2, or if it'll ever become a proper DLC 2, because I think that this could really set up something for the future. And if it does that, I think that I'd be fine with this, because keep in mind, this is the first time Treyarch's ever done this. So of course it's not going to be up to par with a normal DLC 2. They're just trying to figure stuff out. And if this pays off in the future, this 3/4 of a DLC 2, in my opinion, is going to more than be worth it. And I want to explain why I think that's the case. Because one thing that I think Outbreak does that traditional round-based maps don't let Treyarch do is constantly update the mode. Because as you guys have seen, that throughout the time of Outbreak, they have added more maps to it, they've added more world events, more objectives, and then most especially, they added a whole Easter egg, and we're expecting to see a second main Easter egg coming to that, which is something that is just unheard of for round-based maps. So for Treyarch to have a mode like this that could be constantly updated throughout the year and just doesn't need to be all there on launch is something that I see as an opportunity that Treyarch should most definitely jump on. And I think it's something that could probably be a staple of the zombies game mode going forward. And I know a lot of people may be a little concerned when you hear me say that, but at least let me explain how I would at least imagine this working. So how I would imagine this being in the future in its final form, so this is Outbreak in its final form, not in its current form, is that on launch of the next Treyarch game, we are going to see not only a normal zombies map, but alongside that normal zombies map, we're going to get the Outbreak game mode. But this time around, since it's not something they just had to throw together with a bunch of reused assets, instead they can make unique and original zombie locations for Outbreak. And honestly, the maps don't need to be as big as they currently are, so if they need to downsize them, that's completely cool with me. But all we really need in the end are some original maps that potentially can be turned into some round-based maps too. But let's not get too far off track here. But how I really see Outbreak benefiting zombies in the future is how it would affect the season of zombies, because before this, all we've had was just 4 DLCs and then it's over, right? The 4 DLCs and it's over. And what I would imagine being different this time, assuming that Outbreak launches alongside a round-based map in the future, is that from the launch, you're still going to get your 4 DLC maps. And because of that, Outbreak won't have to steal a DLC spot. But how Outbreak would really benefit this is the time in between these DLCs, because as everybody knows in zombies, is that there's a long time in between DLCs, and the zombies community doesn't stay too alive in these in-between times, and that's where Outbreak could come to play. Because what it could do, assuming it comes at launch along with a round-based map, can't stress that enough, then throughout the season, during the times between DLC releases, that's when we could get updates to Outbreak, for it could give us something that we could be playing during these in-between times where zombies is kind of down. And they could be updating this Outbreak mode with some smaller things, whether that be side Easter eggs, more world events, or some new things that they haven't mentioned. Or even cooler, something they could do is after each DLC release, a little bit after that at least, all the new wonder weapons from that new map and all the mini bosses from that map would now go into Outbreak. So having updates like that to constantly update the Outbreak mode would be incredibly cool. But also they could do some major updates. They can add in new original maps to add into the rotation of Outbreak, and then even something that they are already currently doing, adding in more main Easter eggs. And if they did stuff like this, I think that this would be the final form of Outbreak, and what I think Outbreak truly really can be, something that could give us not only a new way to play zombies, but on top of that, it'll be something that can be constantly updated, because as I mentioned earlier, it's not something Treyarch has ever done with round-based maps, and this is the advantage that Outbreak could give to Treyarch, a mode that can be continuously updated in between these DLC releases with all the things I mentioned, especially the new map locations and also the new main Easter eggs. And if they did stuff like that, I think that this would be something that would help zombies so much, because as I mentioned, I can't stress enough, zombies really dies now in these in-between DLCs. So if we have something like Outbreak to fill those void with some of their, major-ish updates in between the main DLCs, I think that Outbreak would really find a good place to live inside zombies. And if this is what Outbreak finally turns into in the future, or at least something like this, I think that I'm completely fine with the current Outbreak as it is right now. Because if it does turn out to be this crazy thing that I described or something similar to it, I think I'm okay with living through its baby stages right now and letting it become what it truly can be. But either way, that's the video. Hopefully it was something interesting to you guys, and if it was, I would appreciate if you guys dropped a like, subscribe, bell, share, and all that great stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna head out, and I'll catch you guys in the next stream video, or whatever the heck it may be, and laters, guys.